honestly, nobody comes to India and experiences something that's blasé. And that is the secret. You can't anticipate India. Thinking globally and acting locally. Every single bit of food has been delicious. Big trip, a big effort to be here.
Now we're starting.
Now is the time.
And now the party is actually starting.
Dude,
Bye.
you made it.
I am so proud of you.
I'm so proud of you.
I think it's been a good week, no?
You know, when Noah built the ark, he didn't know exactly what was going to come, but he knew he just needed to keep working. And I feel like this isn't like the disaster flood zone. I feel like it's a flood of positivity and like happy
Absolutely,
people. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty well fed.
I am not.
You're not well fed.
I am not well fed enough because I know that there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
It's been this crazy long week of all kinds of activities. We got everyone in.
That was incredible.
Half the global board visited India just to show that support of
Right.
the work that we've been doing.
Right.
We got them to India.
Yeah.
And we first took them all around Mumbai.
That was, it was actually incredible to get them even on the plane and get visas.
I know,
right?
right? Oh my lord, that has been one exercise in of itself.
One of the things that I told Dave was that you're actually going to see what India is like. Step one, you have to go through
Visa.
the Indian government website and get a bloody visa, right? And so they figured out that India is one of those countries where there's this legacy of British bureaucracy and nonsense. And then they got here, and despite all that we did to prepare them and tell them about India, they're like, oh my God, it's nothing like what I imagined. And that is the secret. You can't anticipate India.
You see this. And
Right?
that's the thing. So, we managed to bring them along. We managed to give them the sense of the complexity of India.
Right.
We fed them India.
We fed them India for 5 days. So we landed like 4 o'clock in the morning, tried to get to the hotel, tried to get some sleep.
Oh, man.
And then
the
you
poor-
woke my ass up at like 7 in the morning. So,
And why not, right?
so it was Ina D'Souza, your lovely wife, who had to, what do we say, herd the ducklings?
And
Oh.
heard she did.
Heard she did.
Around the city,
Yeah.
through our history, through the many layers that form Mumbai.
Right.
The fascinating nature of the diversity, both culinary and
Right.
socio-economic,
Right.
and in areas of sophistication.
Right.
I mean, so that's the beauty of it. And for me, it was so important that all these guys, you for instance, are one of our own.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
which is why we're like twins. You can see the resemblance.
We are exactly identical twin brothers. That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
And so for everyone else, it was such fun to make it a journey of discovery, of kind of uncovering this really beautiful onion that is this country.
It is. There are many, many layers, and I think for the takeaway that I was getting from these guys was, you go to Fort or you go to Colaba, and crossing the JJ Bridge, and you see that there is this densely populated city. You see that there's this rich history, right, that goes back a very long time. But then they also go to BKC and they have pizza at a nice touch, by the way, right? On day 3.
Yeah, right.
You gotta give a New Yorker some pizza.
Just because poor guys. And that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
The need to know that Mumbai does world-class pizza
Yeah.
is as important as Ilish Mach.
Exactly right.
Is as important as Goan food and Gujarati food.
Exactly.
And that's kind
All
of
of which they ate this week, and
yes.
happily. These guys and gals had just an incredible trip of experiencing all the complexity of India. And the fact is, it's simultaneously 5-star St. Regis as well as, roadside dhaba. Both are delicious. And I think that was the takeaway for me that was, really important for them to get to experience, the visa application process and that you have hurdles to deal with that they can't even imagine. But also that India is, the BKC district looks like Midtown Manhattan. Well, looks a little bit more like Southern California,
Like
but
a spread out, relaxed, easy breathing Midtown.
Exactly.
But here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
This journey was intended to be about cultures. It was intended to be about people coming, getting a feel of what is going on here, the complexity of it. And how lucky did we get that we got to visit both the major exchanges?
Incredible.
By the way, I don't know of any other group of visitors who's rung the closing bells with their very kind permission of both the National Stock Exchange and the Bombay Stock Exchange.
That was incredible.
That was such a privilege.
To me, the big standout is that this wasn't just, a few months of planning or a year of planning. This is like 10 years of super hard work by folks like yourself and Akshay and Vishal. And I have been coming.
Oh my lord, you've been coming.
Sitting on the heads of the RBI.
26 trips to India.
Yeah.
And even now, there is just so much more to do. There's so much more to learn. There's so much more to grow, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I think that's the amazing bit about the journey.
Oh.
May I interest you in some Achari Paneer Tikka?
I think we do.
I think I'll have 3. And this is worth it.
And I always go for non-veg. But man, vegetarian food in India is the most delicious on the planet. Thank you. Shukriya bhai. Shukriya bhai. Shukriya bhai. So, we go to the Bombay Stock Exchange. They've seen all of the social media that got posted from the National Stock Exchange, and they roll out the red carpet.
But 148 years, so we are celebrating 150 years in the next couple of years.
But I think for all of our guests, right, to learn about the growth from 50 million to 110 million traders in the span of just a year, to understand the volume that is traded on these exchanges and the speed at which they trade.
Oh my lord, yes.
Right? A lot of Americans think, if I go to the emerging markets, I'm going to understand that, America is just so supreme. The fact is, we have legacy issues that places like India just don't have, right? They are leapfrogging and jumping ahead. So BSE and NSE, both extremely fine institutions, and they rolled out the carpet for us, and I think taught us a lot.
And that's the beauty of it. I think that the experience with them was a lot about these exchanges being so interested in engaging with us.
Yeah.
That guy, in the meanwhile,
Brett, come on over here.
such a good representative of the association.
Hello.
So, Brett, when you were there at the National Stock Exchange or the Bombay Stock Exchange, what were the most surprising things that you observed or that you were told by some of those folks? Like, what blew your mind?
Well, coming from America, what blew my mind was how similar it was to the New York Stock Exchange, which I've only been to twice in my life. Once when it was open, once for a cocktail hour. And the history, the experience, well over 100 years ago, both institutions, so similar.
So
similar.
Into the history of India from a capital market perspective. Founded in 1875, BSE and
there have been examples of that throughout history that happened. Invention of calculus happened by 2 different guys at the same time.
Yep.
Invention of the airplane happened in France and in Kitty Hawk at the same time. But apparently,
You're learning as you
the
are.
Bombay Stock Exchange and the NYSE were doing the same thing and not knowing it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that was the coolest thing for me. And it was very obvious.
And your favorite meal so far this week?
All of them?
Every single bit of food has been delicious.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Brett.
Wonderful.
So, it wasn't just the sights and sounds of the exchanges that blew us away. It was really just the folks that we met with. So after National Stock Exchange and meeting in BKC, we got to go to Tres Ind, one of the most incredible culinary experiences anybody can go for. But I think what really blew me away was the guest list that you arranged for that dinner. CIOs from every major asset management firm in the whole city.
But that's the beauty of it, right? And what I liked about it is that these guys were willing to engage and are keen to engage. And that's where I think there's a very interesting change in the narrative around technical analysis.
Yeah.
It's not, the charlatan voodoo
Not at all.
branding that it had before. And they see CMT Association's leadership in
Yeah.
how we're trying to tell the story,
Yeah.
in how we're trying to make a difference to what is going on in the practice of the discipline.
Absolutely.
And that respect, I think, is what is going to take us to the next generation. When
Yeah.
quantitative finance, when algorithmic trading are now becoming the norm,
Right.
I think we have a place in this world
Yeah.
of thought leadership, of making a difference that I think is only beginning to get explored.
Absolutely, early innings, right? This is the tip of the iceberg. And I think that today's summit, right,
Uh-huh.
all of the content over 8 hours really summarized for us the learnings of the CMT program, all 3 levels of education and examination, to help people understand not just the tools, but also the concepts. What are those intermarket relationships that affect what sectors of the equity market perform? How do you respond when there's a regime shift in yield curve change? That, as we concluded this last session, Fill the Gap episode, filmed live at the Asia Pacific Summit, hearing from money managers about how they synthesize all of that. You could think of, oh, well, this is going to be a really heavy session. People are going to get discouraged. And the fact of the message was, it's not that hard. Quit trying to solve the puzzle and simply listen to the message of the market and follow responsibly.
And that's the beauty of it, right? The same message of the market. And
Yeah.
I'm turning it from the other side of the stage.
Yeah.
Look at the message that the community has delivered to us by turning up today.
Absolutely.
We ran out of space,
Yeah.
and every single member in the audience was a high quality, serious market professional.
Yep.
Folks from every industry, whether it was the buy side, the sell
Yeah.
side, institutional or retail, banks, corporations, education.
Software developers, people who are
Precisely.
pushing it to the new limit, right?
Right.
Incredible audience.
Imagine this ecosystem that we belong to.
Yeah.
Regulators,
Yeah.
employers,
Yeah.
academic institutions, media professionals.
Yeah.
These guys on the other side of the camera who are doing such an awesome job.
I know, right?
Right? I really think that this is where we are at the inflection point.
Yeah.
The beginning, like my elitician friends like to say, of a wave 3 of 3.
Wave 3 of Wave 3.
But that's the beauty of it. The
Yeah.
people here, the people met with us. This
Hey.
young man.
What's happening?
All good.
Yeah.
What's up? How's life?
Now that you're here and now that you managed to get in this conversation, what was your experience today, Nikhil?
Yeah, what was the highlight? What was the
The
best?
experience was getting to meet a lot of people. That was a key experience, and I got a lot of new insights in terms of understanding the fundamental side of Bitcoins. That is something that I'd never thought of because I'm looking into cryptos only from a technical perspective. So I got to learn about that.
And
That
CMT
fundamentals work.
Summit.
Yes.
That fundamentals work. And that's the
And-
message, right?
Yes. And the session about macroeconomics was very good, both in the morning as well as in the afternoon with the chief economic advisor.
Again,
So got a lot
at
to learn.
a CMT
At a
summit.
CMT summit. Yes,
Right.
yes. David Keller's session was brilliant about market psychology. That was excellent. And the one that Tyler concluded with Atul Suri was excellent. So got a lot to learn.
Yeah.
Outside of technicals, that is more important because technicals I've gained knowledge, experience. So out of technicals, I got a lot to learn. So that's, and most importantly, it's networking. So
Networking.
get
Meeting
to
these
meet
fine
the
people.
industry, not
Right.
only from technical domain, but from outside too. So it's a
Exactly.
wonderful experience.
And
Abhishek was, I think it was 8 years ago, maybe I met you first. You were a youngster. And so I think the standout for me was going to KJ Somaya, where you got to see these impressionable youth that are largely studying fundamentals. But like yourself, you followed this path, your journey into technical analysis, probably influenced by your brother, but it's your own path, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I joined the financial markets domain a decade ago. And I explored fundamentals, technicals, but technicals is something that interested me really well because it works.
Because it works.
So I started pursuing the CMT charter back between 2012 to 14, completed it,
Yep.
and I've been following technical analysis since then. I did the CFP too, but I never applied it. CMT is something that really,
The practical side.
yeah, more of the
Abhishek,
practical side.
Yeah. We'll see you over at the dinner buffet.
Surely.
Awesome.
And the
Have a great
music.
evening, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
And here's the thing about the music, right?
Yeah.
This wonderful band that we have here that's playing this very interesting variation of music that combines both genres. Western
Right.
music as well as Indian.
Right.
Telling the story of exactly what the markets are about.
Markets are a fusion.
Absolutely. And Saurabh says this very nicely. Saurabh Bhatia, who's
Yeah.
been one of our wonderful speakers.
Oh, Saurabh
He
is
says
incredible.
that there is a secret to success that we kind of think as part of our learning culture growing
Sure.
up. In India, there is this understanding that you need to have both English and mathematics in your life,
Yeah.
in your academic rigor
Yeah.
to succeed.
Yeah.
And here, he equates English to fundamental analysis
Yeah.
and maths to technical analysis.
Yeah.
You could probably tell a good story with fundamental analysis, but the
But-
story has structure
Yeah.
when you apply maths.
When you apply math, you're absolutely right. I want to ask this guy real quick. We got a
Which guy? This guy or this guy? This guy.
Yes, sir.
So, I mean, for you, coming over from the UK, obviously a big trip, a big effort to be here. Why would you take all of that time and energy to be a part of this event?
Well, it's not that far really, and it's only been it's been 3 years since the last event. So and being a sponsor, we're very excited to come back and see all you guys again and meet a lot of potential CMT students and candidates who know Optima through our prep classes and software. So it's just great to meet these people in person and to make new contacts and see everyone. It's been great, and we love coming to Mumbai. It's a great atmosphere.
Better in 3D than on a virtual
Oh,
conference. Absolutely.
You can't beat face to face things like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you're here, Darren.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Jay Woods, the whole week, man, you've been like the star of the team. We got into BSE and NSE largely because we sent them your bio, and they wanted to learn as much from you as you learned from them. What was the biggest takeaway from the whole week's meetings and all day today? What did you love?
I mean, the week has just been incredible. I mean, I never thought in a million years I'd be in India. And thanks to Joel and his wife Ina and everyone for their hospitality. It's been great. But to get to come to a place where so many people had such a thirst for the knowledge that we have, and like I don't think we're know-it-alls, but being part of this organization has been so great, and to see that so many people want to be involved in it here and to get to share stories. A lot of people here and a lot of my friends in the association, they pressured me to finally get it, and I'm very glad I did. I mean, when we went to the Bombay Stock Exchange, I was more excited than they were. It was crazy. Who knew? I didn't know they traded under a tree. These were all new things to me. It was similarities were great. The hospitality's been great. And this event, and this may be sacrilege to say, being that I've been to 10 events in New York City, this may have been the best event. It was just so well run. So kudos to you. Everyone had a great time, and now look at us. We're listening to sitar music out on a balcony here in Bombay. With cocktails.
With cocktails. That's the only way the CMT Association events end, right?
Yeah, with cocktails. What can go wrong?
I think we will beat this in New York, though, coming up in April. So
The gauntlet has been thrown. Right?
Yeah, my buy here is setting the bar way too high. This is like the unbeatable benchmark. You know what I mean? But thank you so much, Jay. I know this is a lot of effort to travel over here and be a part of this, but we couldn't do it without you, man.
glad I did it. It's been an experience of a lifetime. So thank you.
What has your culinary journey been like?
It's been amazing. Look at all this food. It's the most colorful food I've ever seen. And that's all I've done. I've seen it. It's been fantastic. But thank you.
Thank you so much.
Like they say, India, an acquired taste.
And, but there's nobody who comes to India that doesn't have a really profound experience that like you can't be indifferent on India, right? Like there are some things like getting stuck in traffic. There are things that are some, frustrations, but honestly, nobody comes to India and experiences something that's blasé. You know what I mean? That's one thing you could say.
There's no such thing as a boring India, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly right. So, I think the real question on everybody's mind is where do you go from here, right? The event today was fantastic. The students at KJ Somaya are studying their little hindquarters off to try to pass these exams.
I learned quite a new things about technical analysis.
We had so many industry stalwarts all at one place. So it was really amazing learning from all of them.
There's a lot of career opportunities available with the CMT. There's a lot of different avenues we can explore with the CMT, the charter. So I think being associated with CMT would definitely be like a feather in our hats.
And then we've also learned a lot about the structure of the industry, right? There's a lot of individual self-directed participation, but we also know that fund managers who have been restricted to very passive, basically ineffective strategies are really paying attention to the fact that they can do better and that there is a toolkit to help them understand the message of the market. So for me, this event is really just a launch pad. I know it's 10 years in the making, but what I see 10 years from now is that portfolio management services in India start to develop really fascinating anti-correlated strategies that have really strong capital protection systems while still giving people equity exposure. I mean, I think when we come back year after year after year, and honestly, quarter after quarter, we're just going to continue to see this blossom. And I compared with Kaizad Marolia this morning, who we should find. His opinion matters. I compared this all to like a garden, right? You plant all these seeds and you keep watering them, and the summer comes, but frankly, you don't get to see even the first shoots for months, right? There's all this effort that goes into the planting, and there's no result for a while, right? And then it blossoms, and then you're struggling just to keep up with all of the new crops, and so I think for me, it's seeing this event come to fruition, seeing this room, all of the folks that came out. That's really the impetus upon which we are going to build some great things. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned something very interesting. Where do we go from here? And for me, like you mentioned, one view to look at it is the markets. Yeah. Where have the markets, where has the Indian financial services industry come from, and where are we headed? Yeah. I'm also looking at where do we go from here for the CMT Association. This is the end of the 50th year of our existence. Right
CMT
there.
50.
Look at this lovely little souvenir that Kaizad Marolia has handcrafted for this event. He made this. And having come 50 years as a culture, as an association of members, what has been our role in the industry? And where do we go in the next 50 years from here? Like you mentioned, in the past 10 years of the existence of CMT Association's really deep involved presence in India, where do we go from here? And that is really, I think, where this inflection point is. How do we carry what made the association what it is from the past 50 years to today into the next 50 years as we scale dramatically? The signs of scale are everywhere. The signs of numbers are everywhere. Yeah. What is amazing though is that we are looking to step into the next 50 years and indeed into the next 10 years while trying to preserve what has made the association unique. The culture, the relationships, the sense of trustworthiness, of humility, of initiative, of selflessness.
I'm only selfish when we're at the buffet.
I know, right? But is that the place to be selfish?
That's the place to be selfish.
Greed is good, they said.
Yes.
But I think the next 50 years, if we are able to hold on to our culture, to what defines us as an association, I think this is merely the beginning.
I think the two things that really stand out to me, this comment that Dave Keller made about thinking globally and acting locally. That you have to have a vision for growing at scale, but you also have to have the volunteer army in every place around the world. It's classic that at an event in Mumbai, India, we have a gentleman who flew over from Bahrain, another who flew over from Switzerland,
one from Australia, one from Singapore, more from
just to attend, right? So truly there is so much interest that people are willing to sacrifice a lot or invest a lot, if you will, to be a part of this. So we know that it's on the back of all of those volunteers that this organization has grown. And that, I think, is the second point, which is protecting that original mission and vision that Ralph Akampora and John Brooks laid out when they first started this, right? You think about how technical analysis had just a terrible reputation in the markets, right? Charlatans, get-rich-quick schemes, pump and dump, snip and clip. There's a million names for all of that. And they said, we need to stand up and be recognized for the professionalism that we bring. So the ethics, the quality, the competency, of course, has to be there, right? You got to show performance, as Atul said. But you also have to do it with integrity. And I think for me, that part will never be lost because those founders are right by our side, right? 2019, Ralph Akampora even though he wasn't feeling well. He
Turned up in Mumbai for us right here.
right after a 24-hour flight, just totally out of sorts, and he still managed to get to KJ Somaya, still managed to deliver the message of the organization.
And that alone has converted so many to technical analysis, that enthusiasm, that spirit.
Yeah.
And I think that is where we should leave these fine gentlemen
Yes.
and get on with our party.
I think that's a great plan. Thank you all so much for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to seeing you at the 50th Anniversary Symposium in New York City, April 26th through the 28th.
Bye time out.
Bye time. Really happy to be here. Thanks for inviting us.